Today's episode is sponsored by Some Edibles CBD infused products. That's SUM Edibles and can be found at
someedibles.com.
They have a variety of yummy treats, including
vegan organic gummies,
brown buttered chocolate chip cookies,
and marshmallow cereal bars, just to name a few.
For fans of the podcast, you can use the promo code WIFE, that's WIFE, to receive 10% off your order.
Again, promo code WIFE for 10% off your order.
So, head to someedibles.com today. Hi, this is Sarah, the Drunken Housewife.
And I am Ian, her husband, who tries to keep her from going too off the rails.
It's a full-time job. And today we are interviewing John Anthony, filmmaker, director, writer, improv comedian. Props
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, props for that, because there is no way I can do that. I don't think I can think fast enough. To really age me, I would totally Cindy Brady on stage. And I know that statement ages me. There's gonna be young people that are like, what? But people my age know. So welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you there are those that might call you a late bloomer, because it was like 2014 you took a class, and that's what kind of sparked your writing career, I guess it could say.
I started late. I started when I was I had done improv prior to, but I started actually acting when I was 50, and now I'm 58. So
gotcha.
Awesome. I was gonna say, it's never too late to change your life path, so to speak.
That is correct. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I can relate. I do stand-up comic. I do stand-up comedy. And I started when I was 49. So as far as like actually taking it seriously, then yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, sorry, I'm loving this.
Go ahead.
No, it's just one of those things where it's just like, it's something that I had always wanted to do, and then it just kind of fell into my lap, and the timing was right, and then just kept learning and fell in love with it, and 8 years later it's still going strong. And one of my acting coaches, who's taught me so much, one of his favorite sayings is for a lot of for all actors, is you guys got to realize that in anything that you do, that it's a marathon and it's not a sprint.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a lot of friends who have gone out to LA, and try to have their acting career take off, and 3 months later they're back, because they've either they've given up or they haven't done anything. And I have some friends that have been out there, and they're still out there, chugging along and doing the best they can, and fulfilling and living their dream, which is important, because it's just like, in the old cliche, your life is short and you only go around once, which is true. And you've got to do the stuff that makes you happy. And with anything that you do, and I'm sure you probably, when you're always going to have your naysayers, it's just like, oh, you're going to be an actor now, you're going to be a writer, you're going to be a director, you're going to be a stand-up comedian, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you have your people that are always going to be like, yeah, whatever. And then, and you're not, like, for me, I'm not out to prove them wrong. I'm just out to follow my dream, and follow my passion, and follow my art that I love to do, and that's writing and telling stories.
And yeah, you've done a lot of shorts.
Yeah.
And let's see, one of them won. I have everything written down in really big letters since I don't have on my glasses. One of them won the Bronze Award for Best Crime Short.
Yeah, that was Rookies. That was my first actually mob kind of mafia type short film that I did. It was about 10 minutes long. And we shot it like in 2 days. But had so much fun doing it. And it was just a lot of fun. And then that kind of just, and I enjoy doing the mob type things I've done too. The other one was A Family Matter. I'm a big David Chase fan, Sopranos and
Okay.
Yeah.
Martin Scorsese, Casino, De Niro, Pacino, all those guys,
Sweet.
James Gandolfini, they're just,
Yeah.
they're off the chart, and it's just phenomenal actors. And it's just when it was funny because when Sopranos first came out and I got hooked right away, and they would always air it on Sunday nights on HBO. I'd have friends, and this is even before I was married. I'd have friends and they'd be like, hey, let's go play pool. Let's go shoot baskets. Let's go do something. Let's go out and have a drink or whatever. I said, can't. They go, why not? I said, Sopranos are on. They're like, tape it. I go, no, you don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't
gotta
take,
be-
you don't take the Sopranos. You watch it when it's live. And now it's like, my wife is slowly starting to watch. She actually jumped in on like season 5, and I kind of yelled at her because I'm like, no, you can't jump in at season 5. I said, honey, you got to go back to number 1, season 1, watch the first episode. So she's slowly starting to get into it. So, which is good.
I say, did she try to hop in on season 5 and be like, so catch me up to now? And you're like,
yeah,
no,
yeah,
there's
not
no
happening.
way. There's no way.
Not happening. Not a chance.
Because I know he did that to me with Game of Thrones.
I was kidding though.
He was kidding
In my
though,
defense,
but it was like
but-
season 4, I think. And he came in, he's like, so what's happening now? And I'm like, you've got to be freaking kidding me. There
Yeah,
is no way.
Yeah, her head was spinning.
I
It
was like,
awesome.
there's just no way. There's no way.
But,
But
no, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, but I think that's kind of a sign of good writing.
Oh, absolutely.
You
It's
know-
funny you bring up Game of Thrones, because when I watched the first episode when it first came out, I was like, man, it's nothing for me. And then, I was going to acting class and I had a friend of mine, and she's big into Game of Thrones. And then, they're all talking about it. I go, man, I watched the first episode way back when. I said, I just couldn't get into it. She's like, do me a favor, just go back and watch it. Just trust me on this one. I said, okay. So I came back, and it was the last season. It was season 8, episode 1. And I told her, I said, hey, I just watched season 8, episode 1. And she's like yelling and screaming at me, like, you cannot watch season 8 episode. You got to go back. So it was crazy. It was during the summer, and I was, I'm a school teacher by day. So I went back and I started watching season 1, episode 1. And I binge watched all of them in like 2.5 weeks. I mean, there's times my wife she'd come down to the, our media room, and she'd like knock on the door, and she's like, what are you doing? It's like 3:30. I go, honey, I can't stop. She's like, what episode are you on? I said, season 2, episode 7. She goes, you've been up for like, it's like 4:30 in the morning, because I couldn't go to bed. It was so well written.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was absolutely amazing, and I was blown away. And I'm just like, there's no way. And then it was funny because then when I got back to acting class and I was all cut up, like after a week and a half, she's like, where are you now? I said, I'm all cut up. She's like, what are you talking about? I go, I haven't slept like maybe like 4 hours a day for like 10 days straight, because I was just overwhelmed by it. It was absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah. And it's one of those, I think in this day and age with cell phones and stuff like that, we kind of do passive watching where you've
Mhm.
got it playing and you're not really paying attention because you're playing Candy Crush or checking Facebook or whatever on your phone. But Game of Thrones, Sopranos, stuff like that are ones that you have to actively watch.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
cannot passively watch those shows because you'll miss the little details, the little non-verbal things that in like 10 minutes are going to make so much sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
And that's
know.
the same way with, like Ozarks and, Taylor Sheridan, who wrote, who's done Yellowstone in 1883, which were both just like, amazing shows. It's the same thing. It's just like, you can't jump in and try to find something because you've got to watch it from the beginning, because you've got to follow the stories and follow the, everything that happens. And
Yeah.
Especially, like with Ozarks and Yellowstone. My wife was a big Yellowstone fan, and she got me hooked on that. It was just like, again, binged watch it and just loved it. And just, and then we watched 1883, which was a kind of a prequel to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
Which was amazing. And there's some of the shows out there now. They're just absolutely amazing. The writing is fantastic, and it's just, the way it's shot and everything.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of great stuff to watch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's definitely, as opposed to back in the olden days where it was like, cable or just network TV. It's like, just a bunch of crap, and then a couple of things. But with Netflix and Hulu and the whole nine, there's so much good stuff that's coming out. It's kind of hard to keep tabs on all of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have so many friends who are like, oh, you've got to watch. And it's like, I don't think you understand. my watch list is like pages of
Yeah.
stuff that people are like, oh, you got to watch. And it's like, I've got some things I've tried watching them and you got to be in that right mindset. Or you just can't, I've tried watching the first episode of stuff and it's like, I'm not in the right mindset for this.
Yeah.
And then some stuff my theory has always been, if by episode 3 you haven't hooked me, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll give
It's funny because
Yeah.
there's on Apple right now, there's a show called Severance. I don't know if you've watched it.
I've heard of it.
So yeah, so I mean, all my friends are like, you got to watch. So my wife and I watched like the first 15 minutes, and it hadn't really like captured me. And so, but then I was talking to a friend of mine. He's like, just watch it. You get through it, you watch it, and everything's going to change. So that's next on my list, because it's just from everyone I've talked to, they love it. So and that's the same thing, like, with Game of Thrones. I watched the first one, like, man, I don't know if I could do this, knights and dragons and stuff, and then just fell in love with it when I, took the time to really dive into it, So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Severance as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I just, though, that's the one thing, people are like, oh, you're going to love it. And that puts so much pressure on me.
Yeah.
I think is like, oh my God, they are so invested in me loving this.
Yeah.
What if I don't, and,
It's exactly right.
So that's
my friend, because I don't like this show. Yeah.
So that's why I kind of made the rule of, okay, I'm going to give you 3 episodes. I can do 3 episodes of my life, that time span. And after that, if you haven't hooked me, I'm done, so that I can then tell my friend, look, I watched 3 episodes and it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So,
but then you also have your one friend, I don't know which one friend you have, but it always recommends what they think that you'll love, and you end up hating everything that they tell you that you'll love.
No, I have friends like that to this day. It's like, you got to watch this. I go, it was horrible. And like, no, you don't get it. I go, no, I got it. It's horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
I need that hour of my life I can never get back now.
Yeah. I feel bad because I know we've recommended like some movies to my daughter's godfathers, and they call us up and it's like, so that was like an hour and a half of our life that we're never going to get back. Why? Yeah. And we're like, sorry, we'll take you out to dinner to make up for it.
There you go.
What about these? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, but speaking about watching stuff, I can't find, is your stuff on like
my stuff is hidden in a vault.
Oh, okay. Because I searched.
So basically, like I still have some films that are in the short films circuit. So it's just kind of like I won't put anything in that. But on my website, I actually have a film that's on there. It's a micro short, and then I've also got a ton of clips, demo reel, commercial reel, and then different clips from different films on there. So and I don't know, did I ever send you my website? Do you guys have it?
I've been on your website because the one that I wanted to see desperately, because it sounded interesting, was A Love Not Lost.
Yeah, Love Not Lost.
Yeah, because that one, give us a brief synopsis of it, because
so it was I kind of developed the character in class one day, because we were allowed to in an acting class you get scripts or whatever you want to do, but my acting coach can always encourage, if you ever want to write, you write your scene. So I kind of developed this character, and he's an older man in his 50s, and he's just mentally slow. So in A Love Not Lost, basically the story is this man by the name of Sam. He's been living his whole entire life in like assisted livings, and because his parents couldn't deal with him as a younger child, so they put him in a home, and he's never really had a life. So then his brother who after their parents die, he comes back in to town and decides he's going to buy a house and take Sam out of the home and give him the opportunity that he's never had, and that is to have his own room, live in a house, have a dog, have a puppy that he's always wanted. And they go through all that, and through the time, well, as his brother's getting everything put together, his nurse, who's been taking care of him for 5 or 6 years, they've developed such a bond together where they care for each other. You know, they you know they befriend each other. And Sam has a huge heart, and he you know, he has a love for his nurse that he, you know, that he wants her to be happy, and he doesn't understand a lot of everyday stuff. You know, he and then there's you know, she finds out that her husband's as a nurse is having an affair, and you know, she doesn't know how to deal with it, and you know, Sam tries to comfort her, but Sam doesn't understand anything what's going on.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of it's a story about almost like two friends that you never thought would be friends, and they befriend each other. And you know, like again, Sam's got like one of the biggest hearts ever, because he doesn't understand life. He doesn't, you know, I mean, his life is drawing, coloring, and you know, wanting a puppy. He doesn't understand. I mean, he can't tie his shoes, he can't dress himself, he, you know, all these things. And you know, it was funny because when I wrote it, and then I had a friend of mine, she was in it, and she also helped me with it. She had said, she goes, this is really, really good. I think this is one of the best things you've done. And I'm always skeptical because I'm like my worst critic. So I was just kind of like, well, you know what, we'll see. Yeah, well, you know, we'll see how it goes. And so I started sending it out to film festivals, and you know, it did really, really well. We won both myself and the lead actress, we both won a Best Actor and Best Actress award, Platinum Award, for in a film festival, the IMDb Film Festival out in Los Angeles. We won a certificate of merit, and you know, it's done really, really well. And you know, I'm really, really pleased with it. It was probably one of the toughest things that I've ever had to do from a standpoint of, and from an actor standpoint, playing a role like that. But yeah, I mean, the Los Angeles, I think it was the Los Angeles Independent Film Festival is the one, you know, and we won a bronze award for best drama, and then we both took home best actor and actress awards.
Awesome.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and we were nominated for, you know, best ensemble with four characters, you know, a couple other things. So you know, it was one of those things that it was tough to shoot. From a standpoint of just, you know, becoming the character, but at the same time, it was very, very rewarding. And you know, like I said, I'm really, really proud of it. So,
and I don't know if you are aware, because we are aware our daughter is physically handicapped and autistic. And the character of Sam, I mean, back when we were kids, still in the 80s, you know, 70s and 80s, people still, it's like, oh, your kid has a mental handicap, shove them in this institution, you know, forget they existed, move on with your life. And it's kind of mind-boggling, I think, for both of us to realize just in our lifetime that shift, where people want to do like Sam's brother did, you know, have them in an actual home, you know.
A lot more empathy for the handicapped and just that generation and a half or whatever. So because I mean, we encounter people every day who have grown up in institutions that are our age or not much older, and they've spent their entire, just because there weren't the programs and the services and the help. So thank you for putting that out.
Oh no, you're welcome. You know, and the thing that is, it gets to, you know, and it was kind of one of those things where it was just like, you know, there has to be, you know, I wanted it to be something good at the end, you know, and you know, for his brother Spencer to come in and just, you know, there's a scene where he comes in and he tells the nurse that he's going to take Sam out of the institution. And it's one of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, because I mean, both the two actors who played the roles, I mean, they were just amazing. And it's just like, you feel the pain from both sides. You feel the pain from the nurse, because she's like, wait a minute, okay, because she can't stop him, but at the same time, she's like, okay, you're taking him out, but you know, he can't bathe himself, he can't dress himself, he can't feed himself, you know, all these things. And then his brother's in there saying, you know, I'm going to take him out because I think, from a standpoint, and I don't think he's writing it, but he's got this guilt where it's just like, you know what, their parents are gone. He feels guilty that he left. Now he's come back and he's like, you know what? If there's anything I need to do to make things right, is I need to make it right with my brother and my family. And even though my parents aren't here anymore, that they'll be able to look down on us and know that we are a family once again.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a really beautiful story, and and it's something I'm really, really proud about. So
Yeah. So yeah, I would love to see it.
I'll
As soon as that
send
comes out
you a
the
link.
Yeah, send me a
okay.
link or something, because
I'll send you the
would
link.
I would love to see that, because that's the one I searched for the hardest, because I was like, it's got to be somewhere, it's got to be on YouTube or something, it's got to be,
Do I need to get the tissues? for that
So
one?
no, I'll be fine. Don't want to mess up. I actually did a good job with my eyes today, so I'm trying not to cry on that
There
one.
you go.
But I think I think for women, 9 times out of 10, it's like, I can't cry because my eyes look good. Will not cry. But yeah, that one. And then you have a new project you're working on.
Brand new project. We actually start shooting tomorrow. It's called My Journey to Me. And it's about a girl in her mid 20s, late 20s, 27, 28. And she finally decides to come out and share her experience. And of course, she's got to go through telling her father. And it's a story that it was, that I actually did research on, because I don't, in anything that I do, if it's something that people can relate to, I want to do research. Like when I was doing Sam, I was researching the character. I was researching, I went back and I watched Sean Penn and My Name is Sam, and how he acted, and even just YouTube stuff on mentally slow and disabled people and stuff like that, because I wanted it to be real and do the best that I can to make it real, because I don't want to put sometimes you see movies and they put that Hollywood flavor on it or whatever. It's like, that's not even how it works.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So when I wrote this, and I wrote it in January, it just kind of came to me, because if you look at my genre of films, they're all over the place, from crime to family to to a mentally slow man to now having a girl come out. And it's just one of my friends asked me just the other day, like, why are you telling a story about that? I said, because it's a love story. And I said, that's the thing that's about. And I said, and he goes, yeah, but the girl comes out. So, and I said, yeah, I said, she comes out and it's a love story. And I'm just like, every person deserves and should be able to have that ability to fall in love and be in love, because I think it's one of the greatest things that we have as two people. And it doesn't matter, what your gender is, if you're straight, if you're bi, if you're transgender, anything. It's like you should all have the ability to fall in love. And I wanted to tell this story because it was one of those things that I sat down and I wrote, and I felt really, really good about it. But again, I wanted to do my research. So I have a actor friend who's gay, and I reached out to him and I said, hey, I want to take you to dinner and I want you to read this script. And he's like, sure, absolutely. And I hadn't seen him because of, COVID. I hadn't seen him in a couple of years.
Sure.
So we met for dinner. We sat down, we talked, and I said, I want you to just read it. I said, I got some stuff I can do. So I was like on my phone, and he read half of it, and then we ate, and then he read the rest of it. And I said, you're not going to hurt my feelings. I said, I just want to know if it seems realistic to you. And his thing was, he goes, I think it's beautiful. He goes, I think it's very well written. He goes, there are some things in here that I so wanted my parents to say and I never heard. Or there's like this one line that you have in here. And it kind of blew my mind away, because I'm writing this stuff and then he's reading it. And then even like when we took a break for dinner, he's just like, man, he'd say something. And I'm like, you haven't even read the rest of the script. And I'm like going, he already knows this is already in this script, and I'm like going, oh my gosh. So, one of the things he said, he goes, this line, he goes, I heard so many times. And it was when the father says to his younger daughter, he's like, well, is this just a phase? And he goes, I cannot tell you how many times I heard that. Yeah. Oh, this is just a phase. Yeah. You're going to grow out of it. You're going to grow out of it. You're going to grow out of it. So to get his blessing on it and reach out to him, and he was so helpful and so, positive and so forth. I was very, very thankful that he took the time and that he was, that he said, hey, yeah, this is a really nice story. it's a beautiful story. And because the thing it is, it's really not about, yes, it's about coming out, but it's also about love. And it's about how each person in this story wanted to be loved.
Yeah.
And, so it's just like, I'm really excited about it. I got a great cast. And like I said, we start shooting tomorrow, so I'm very excited about it.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very
Awesome.
cool.
I'm excited about that one too.
Yeah, because we're very much pro LGBTQ.
Yeah, we're allies. So
yeah, exactly. So we
yeah,
hear a lot of
very
that, too.
excited for that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of blown away by that one. I'm like wrapping my head around it. Yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, and the funny thing is most of when I write my short films, or even, I'll do like a rewrite here or there, but it's just like this one, because I wanted to do it right so well, I've actually rewritten it 10 times. And so it's like, when we had our last table read, they a lot of the actors like, John, you're missing a scene here. We want to see we want to see more from the dad. And I was looking at my friend who does my production stuff, and he's like, yeah, Johnny, you got to put something in there more about the dad. So then I put, I added something and sent it back. And like, this is exactly what we were talking about. So yeah, it's like, it's going to be, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I think it's going to be a special movie. And I had one friend, who had asked, like, he's like, what do you hope to get out of this film? I said, just that people enjoy it, and maybe they can relate to it. Maybe there's, someone out there who's struggling with that, and they see this film, like, it's okay to go out and go talk to my parents about it and so forth, and not be afraid, because it's just, again, it's a love story, and it's about people being in love, and not to sound corny, but I mean, love is a beautiful thing, man. It's the best thing in the world to have someone that loves you and you love them back.
It is. And yeah. I'm just it's going a lot deeper than I was ready for. So I'm processing. And it doesn't help. I'm drinking mom water.
There you go.
Coming soon to a store near you. But yeah, that just sounds so completely awesome, because I know I volunteer with this one organization that does events. It's called Haunters Against Hate. Mm-hmm. And it's an LGBTQ organization of the people that play the characters in haunted, attractions like your fear farms and terror towers and whatever, call themselves haunters. I did not know that before I met the founder of this group. But I have to say, working their events, if you ever want to be in a room that's filled with just so much love, go to one of the, go to their event, because it's the last event I worked. It was just so incredible. You walk in the room and it's like, there's so much love and acceptance and happiness. Mm-hmm. And it's just to be surrounded by that. It's just like recharging your battery, so to speak. Because, in the everyday world, it's like, you've got people draining your battery with their grumpiness mm-hmm. and their, meanness and all of that. But yeah, I walked into this room and it's just all these people that are full of love and happiness and acceptance and all of that. And it's just, it's a good feeling. So hopefully, hopefully somebody watches this, movie of yours and gets that out of it.
It's definitely relatable.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's like, all my films. I had a friend of mine. He's still a friend of mine. He's a great actor here in Dallas. And I had posted on Facebook a while ago a film of mine, and he watched it, and he wrote back one of the nicest things. And he's like, John, when you write, he goes, it makes us laugh, it makes us cry, it moves us, it can move us to tears, but we can all relate to it. And it's one of those things that, I still, every once in a while, I'll go back and look at the Facebook post, because it just kind of, if I'm having a bad day, or if I'm, I'm stuck on something writing, I'll go back and look. And then it just kind of, you take a deep breath, and it's like, okay, you know what, I can get through this, and that's all I want, because like I said, it's just, not everyone's going to like your films. And I totally get that. It's just like people, just not everyone's going to like your comedy, not everyone's going to like your singing, whatever it is. And it's just like, and you have to be okay with that. But at the same time, it's just like, for me, I'm just like, if you don't like it, that's totally fine. If you like it, great. It's not gonna bother me, because everyone's different. Like you and I all three of us could go see Batman, and we walk out and I go, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. And you guys like, a little bit too long. Wasn't really a fan. I like Michael Keaton better, blah, blah. And that's just the way it is. I'm also a big Quentin Tarantino fan. I love his films. I saw him on he was on some guy was like interviewing him, and he was asking him some questions, and he was going about a roundabout way, as if to say, the things you put in your movies and all that stuff. And he just said, look, if you don't like my movies, don't watch them.
Yeah.
That's it. You don't have to go watch them. But and the guy got defensive, and I thought the way Quentin Tarantino handled it was wonderful. He's just like, dude, look, I know what you're trying to stir me up. We're not going to go down that avenue. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're here to talk my film. If you're going to talk about other stuff, he goes, this interview's over. And like I said, if you don't like my stuff, don't go watch it.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's just the way it is,
Yeah.
So.
Well, see, one of the things.
Sorry
that
for
I
the
like
cameo there.
No worries. Big animal lover. I got my little one sitting here sleeping, so we're good.
Yeah. I don't know what it is about cats and Zoom. I think maybe Zoom has like catnip infusion in their algorithm
Ray
somewhere.
shooting out of the computer.
Yeah, because just about every interview we've done.
Well, he's just a big ham.
Yeah. Spooky here
likes
has
the center of
made an
attention.
appearance. So
Yeah. But what you're talking about, what I like to talk to, since I do a lot of open mic and like guys are like half my age there, it's like I try to tell them, it's like, no matter what you do on stage, somebody's not going to like it, and somebody's going to like it. Once you get that over that hurdle in your mind, then you can go do whatever you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you don't have to copy the most successful comic or whatever. It's like, find your style, see what is best for you and your voice. That's the best thing, is your voice, because there's so many different voices out there. It's like, we don't want to have everybody just sound the same. Find out who you are and don't worry about what anybody thinks. If it comes out of your head, the timing's right, and you like it, somebody else is going to like it. Yeah. How many it will be, who knows? It could be like 3 people, but at the same time, though, it's still you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can show a movie to 100 people in Dallas, and 97 walk out and go, this is fantastic. And then you show the same movie to 100 people in Nevada, and they go, 80 of them walk out, that thing was horrible.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just everybody's own opinion. And it's just like, and that's one of the great things too, where it's just like, if you like them, great. If you're moved by one of my films, great. If not, I'm okay with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's almost
from
like
a theater background as well. It's like, and you're performing on stage, 100, all like standing ovation, people are be howling, loving it. The next day, crickets.
Yeah.
It's just different audiences, different situations.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I really think though that's kind of a good like piece of advice for life in general. Not everybody's going to like you.
Absolutely.
If you have 5 friends that just think you're the bomb, that's better than having 10 friends that you had to completely change yourself for.
Yeah. Well, and like for me, I'm the type of person, it's like, even my students, they go, man, Coach looks so mad. He looks so mad. He always looks like he's mad. And then they get to know me, and they know that that's not who I am, so the facade is like, even when I first took my very first acting class, the teacher, she's like, all right, I'm going to tell you a little bit about you. And I was just kind of, okay, this is going to be interesting. Tell me about me. And she goes, well, for roles, you're really only going to get bouncer roles, detective roles, or maybe a bad guy role. And I was like, oh, wow, okay. Which all of a sudden I'm in my head going, all right, this is, I don't know if this is really a great way to start off with a new student to come and say, this is all you're going to do.
Yeah.
So I did ask her, I said, well, what about like playing a coach, or like a basketball coach, a football coach, or anything like that? She's like, no, you could never play that role. And I looked at her and I said, really? I said, well, that's what I do for a living. I've been doing it for 26 years. I said, I think I could probably play that role. But that too also fed me to where it's just like, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to do all these different roles and play these different roles, and convince you that you're not gonna. You may try to stereotype me or cast type me, but I'm not going to be that one who's going to accept that. Because I
Yeah.
mean, even in my films and some of the stuff that I've done, it's just like play a mob guy, play a dad, play a crazy uncle, play a dying husband, or any of these other things. So it's just like, you may doubt me, but that's okay, because I don't doubt myself. I'm going to keep
Yeah.
pushing and pushing and pushing. You want to knock me down, I'm going to pick myself back up.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
keep going.
you might as well go ahead and try the role, because at the absolute worst, somebody's going to say you suck.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
that's
and
not
even if
life
you get
ending.
the
That's just an
well,
opinion.
Yeah.
exactly, and you even get the role, and you watch the film, and go, God, that guy sucked, or that girl sucked. How did it? She's horrible. She's horrible. And it's just like, that's your opinion. But to the
Yeah.
point is that and that's the one thing too about acting, is that your job is to go in and do your audition, and then you walk out,
Mhm.
because everything else is going to be left in the hands of the casting director.
Yeah.
They're the
Exactly.
one who decides who they want. Do they always get it right? Probably
No.
not. It's just,
Yeah.
but it's like, you go in, you do your job, and you walk out. Because I even had talked to my agent, and I said, being older, I said the roles are going to be less, and she's like, keep doing what you're doing, keep creating, doing the stuff you're doing. And I was just sitting there, and I said, because so much is based off of it on a look. And she goes, you're absolutely right. 95, 96% of the time, they're going to base it off of a look. It's not whether or not, okay, yeah, that this guy was phenomenal, but you know what? You did phenomenal. That was such a great read, but you know what? You're just not the look that we're looking for. And you
Yeah.
can't beat yourself up over
No.
that, because it's like, you have no control. You go in, you do your lines, you walk out, you say, and I, when
Mhm.
my very first audition, I was just like, man, I suck. This was horrible. I'm driving home. My wife's like, how was it? I go, they changed the lines the minute I got there, and all this stuff. And then with my second acting coach, who's phenomenal, he explained all this. He goes, you guys go in, you do your job, you walk out. He goes, it's out of your hands. You have
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
control over what
Exactly.
happens. You only have control of when you go in there, your lines, you do your job, and then you leave. And if they like you, they'll bring you back, and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of how it is.
Yeah. And I mean,
Well, none of
sometimes they
that-
definitely get it wrong, because I know I've watched stuff where it's like, oh, originally so and so was going to play this part, but it got delayed and they had to drop out because of scheduling conflicts. So and so took it over. And I get to thinking, if it had been that other actor, that would have sucked.
Yeah.
But this other guy,
Mhm.
because he was available last minute, could hop
Came in and
into
nailed it. Yeah.
just did a phenomenal job with the role. So sometimes, yeah, casting directors sometimes don't get it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's
know.
funny, because a friend of mine, we were talking about a film, and I can't remember what it was. She's like, man, that was totally cast wrong. I mean, the guy who was the lead shouldn't have been the lead, should have been somebody else, blah 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 blah. And you
Mhm.
watching it, and I enjoyed the film, but it was one of
Yeah.
those no. But again, that all comes down to everyone's opinion. And
Yeah.
the thing that
Oh,
is
yeah,
like,
definitely.
as an actor, you have to understand that 95% of the time, maybe even more than that, you're going to hear the word no, or you just don't get a call back.
Yeah.
And you have to be okay with that. And if you are, you keep working on your trait. And that was one of the things for me, where it's just like, if I'm not getting auditions, or if I'm not, I'm not booking something, I'm going to create. I'll write a story. I'll make a short film. I'll put myself in it. I'll get some actors, and it helps me to work on my writing and my films and so
Oh,
forth,
yeah.
and submit
Yeah.
to film festivals. And I'm the type of person who's I'm never gonna rest on somebody else's laurels to find things for me.
Yeah.
I'm going to do things on my own. And, if my agent's job is to, book me stuff, and I love my agents, I have great agents, and it's just, again, it's just, if there's nothing out there, there's nothing you can do. And, it's like Liam Neeson said, I think it was on Jimmy Fallon one time, and he said, 95% of all actors are unemployed, because if they're not shooting a movie, they're not getting paid for anything else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just,
exactly.
it's one of those things, you've got to be patient, like my teacher says. And when it's your time, just be ready to rock and roll.
Mm-hmm. I know. I've heard this more than once from former child actors, where somebody pulled them aside and said, look, there's 5 people in front of the scene. Now look at all the people that are behind the scene. If you can do both, you've broadened your ability to
Abilities
work
in
in
show
this
business,
business.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you can act, if you can write, if you can direct, if you can do makeup,
Or
if you can do
produce, or
costuming,
makeup, yeah,
whatever.
exactly,
I mean, look at Peter Billingsley. He's one of the top producers in Hollywood. And every once in a while he throws himself on the screen, it's
Yeah.
like, why not? And yeah, so I think you're wise in being able to write, to direct, to act, to, create your own project. It's like, well, I don't have anything going on right now, but I've written this script.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
now's the
why sit and
time.
do nothing?
Yeah. Get it. So what would your top piece of advice be for somebody that's just beginning their journey into acting, writing, directing, whatever? Just
I think the biggest thing, believe in yourself, because you're going to have doubters, and you're always going to have doubters. You're going to have people that don't believe you and don't do any of this other stuff. And it's just like, be proud of what you do, be proud of your work, and then you're going to write some stuff that you may not even like, I mean, there's a couple films I have that I wouldn't show to anybody. My buddy's like, "Oh, that's a good film." I go, "That film sucks. I'm going to bury that in a box, and hopefully it never, who knows." But no, it's yeah, you have to believe in yourself. And I think that's the biggest thing, because it's just like, and when it's slow, go write something. And people go, like, I had a friend of mine said, "Well, I don't like to write." I go, you're never going to know until you try. And he went and he wrote his first short film, and it was a comedy, and he's done great with it. And it's done really well in some festivals and so forth. So it's just like, if things are slow, create. Just don't rely on the acting aspect of it. Because, like, again, when COVID was going around, when it first started, I mean, everything shut down and there was like nothing going on.
yeah.
And I mean, create stuff, film stuff, but I think the biggest thing is you've got to believe in yourself and be proud of yourself, and just know that it's going to be a journey. And if you're willing to take that journey, then you know what, good things will happen. It may not be from an acting standpoint, but you may write something and somebody goes, "God, who wrote that? I really like that. Maybe we'll turn that into a film," or so forth. So, I mean, just believing in yourself. I think that's probably one of the biggest things.
Now,
But doing it. But I would say the other thing, doing it in a positive way. Because it's like there are some people, like in my acting class, we're called the Extra Mile family, and we are a family. There's no egos in there. Everybody in that class is wanting to help everybody else out and everybody to do well. I mean, I've been on sets before where it's just like, one guy was like 3.5 hours late to the shoot, and then he finally called in and said, "No, I can't make it." And here they spent all this money to, rent out this house, and everybody's makeup was ready, and I'm just like, don't be the prima donna. Just be true to yourself, and because the thing is, the last thing you want to do is you want to have a reputation that, God, that person is so difficult to work with.
Yeah.
It's so that that person is, the ego and so forth, stuff like that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
So I mean, just be yourself and be happy, and enjoy every opportunity that you get. And if you're not getting opportunities, create your own opportunities.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I totally agree with that. In as much as that, I mostly write comedy, and the stuff that I write, I would much rather have an enthusiastic actor who's just wanting to be there, as opposed to the talent per se.
Yeah.
Is if you're excited about doing it, the talent will pop out, as opposed to somebody saying, "Yeah, I'm the best one, and I'm on set. You're gonna have to deal with me." It's like I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
We have to get this done. It's going to be fun to do. And if you don't just want to throw a little, actor fit, you need to walk, because we don't have time.
Well, it's a great point too, because it's like, you want to surround yourself with great people. And like for me, like there's some people that, I want to go to LA and I want to be famous. I want to be an actor or an actress or whatever. I just want to tell stories, and I want to have the ability to act. I'm not one that's, wants to go to LA and become famous. I want to have an opportunity to act and show people what I can do and tell stories and be believable. You know, the first screenplay that I wrote several years ago is called Walter, and I started pitching it right before COVID hit, and still in the process of pitching it. I got an email from a production company out in Los Angeles that wanted to read it, so I sent it to them. But a lot of times with that, they can have it and they'll sit on a shelf forever, or maybe they'll read it, maybe they won't.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just one of those things where it's just you have to my friend was asking me, he's like, well, do you want to sell it? You know, let's say if someone offered you 100,000 for it, I said, don't you want to sell? I said, you know what? No. And he's like, you know, well, what'd you write it for? And I said, well, I want it to be done right. You know, it's just like, you know, when Sylvester Stallone first did Rocky, the production company was like, hey, you're not going to play the role of Rocky. And he's like, but then you're not getting my script, you know. And then he went on his own, you know, the whole story of him losing his dog and buying it back and all that stuff, because he wrote that part. He knew how to play that role. And you know, of course, history speaks for itself, you know, Academy Award. And, you know, and that's kind of like the same way. I want this film, which is kind of like his Rocky, Sylvester Stallone's Rocky is like my Walter to me. And it's something that I'm very, very passionate about. I'm not going to, you know, just sell it to someone. Because if a production company buys it, then you're done. They can do whatever they want with it. They can change the name. They could do anything that they want with it. So it's just like, you know, this is what I want to do. This is how I'm going to approach it. And it was funny because when I wrote it, I had 3 actors in mind, and my wife had come in and she's like, why do you have those people next to you? I said, because these are the 3 roles that I need to have play this film. And they were Morgan Freeman, who plays the role of Walter, Ed Burns. I don't know if you're familiar with Ed Burns. I love Ed Burns. Phenomenal actor, great writer, great director. He plays the father. And then Helen Mirren has to play, it's not a big role, but it's a small role next door. And I said, in order for this film to work the way I want it to work, I've got to get these 3 people on board. And, you know, I've got friends like, oh, you're never going to get Morgan Freeman. He's never going to read your script. And I'm like, you know what? Think what you want to think. Think what you want to think. But you know what? If I can get out there and I get my name out there and people start hearing this, who knows? Maybe someone's going, hey, you know what? There's some guy, he's got a script, and he said it would only get made if this person's in it or this person's in it, or, you know, knock on wood, maybe Ed Burns reaches out and says, hey, let me read your script, you know? And it's just, it's one of those things where, you know, if those 3 are in it, it's going to be off the chart. And I'm not saying that if you know, if I ended up making it and doing it myself and so forth, but to have as a goal to have Ed Burns direct it and play the role of the father, and Morgan Freeman as the main character, and Helen Mirren as the next door neighbor. I mean, that would be like not only the greatest gift of all, but I'd be like, I'm done. Like I'm done. My movie making's done. This is it. They say you're a one-hit wonder. I'm a one-hit wonder because, you know what? My dream, my bucket list to just sit and have Morgan Freeman read something that I wrote. I'd be like,
oh my God,
yeah.
yes.
Oh yeah. We totally get that, because we're like halfway through a script ourselves. And I turned to him one day and I'm like, okay, ride this with me. Dee Snider as the older male vampire. And we both just were like, oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, you have someone in your mind. It's like, you know, and it's like, I'm not gonna stop till I, you know, I don't want to say that I get what I want, but till I get to where I need to be to make this right.
Exactly,
Yeah. Now I have to ask this as a wife of a writer.
Yeah.
I know frequently he will write something and I'll read it and it's just not my thing, you know, and I will turn to him and I'm like, I don't get this, but I fully support your need to write it. Has your wife ever found herself in that position where she's like, well, you know?
Well, let me just tell you about my wife.
If we open a can of worms, there we go.
Yeah, open worms everywhere. Yeah.
She's truly the best thing that's ever happened to me. We've been married for it'll be 10 years in on June 29th. But she is my biggest fan. There's stuff that I'll sit there and I'll send her and she'll read it. And, you know, it may not be like her taste of certain things, but she's always there as a supportive person. She always, and here's the other thing too. It's like being a PE teacher. I'm a horrible speller. I mean, my grammar is just god awful.
Okay.
So when I wrote Walter and I finished it, it was originally 136 pages, which is way too long for a script. So I cut it back to about 106. And when I finished it, I said, honey, I need you to edit this for me. And she goes, okay. So I give it to her and she's in the bedroom, she's reading, and she's been in the bedroom for like 2 hours. And I go back in there and it's like 9 o'clock. I go, so what do you think so far? She's just like, she literally looks right at me and goes, oh my God. And I go, what? I go, is it bad? She goes, where did you go to school? She goes, I'm on page 2 and I'm still making errors on your spelling and your commas and your punctuation and all this other stuff.
Wow.
But she knows how passionate I am about the story. I mean, she likes the story. And there's some stuff with that, I'll write in and she'll look and she goes, I don't know about that one. Like the first comedy I wrote was a dark comedy called Swimmers. And it was very, very dark. And we filmed it, we showed it in my acting class. And one of my friends said, he goes, the best way to tell about comedy is to sit in a room with people you don't know and see if they laugh. And so I'm sitting there and we're watching it before we get to watch it. And it's only like 10 minutes. And my wife's looking at me. She's like, are you nervous? I go, I am nervous as hell, because it's like, if it's bad, you could hear a pin drop and you're like, oh my God, it's supposed to be a comedy. Nobody's laughing, whatever. So we show it, and, in the beginning that people are still trying to figure out what's actually happening until about 3 minutes in, because it's only a 10-minute film. Sure. Then you start to hear people laugh and laugh and laugh. And then at the end, I had several friends of mine through class that I know now that have said it's one of their funniest shorts that they ever saw. And even my acting coach, Glenn Morshower, who has taught me so much, he's like, this might be one of the funniest short films that I've ever seen. So it made me feel really, really good.
Awesome.
But again, I submitted it to a lot of film festivals. It got in some and some it didn't, because it's like I said, people may like it, they may not, but we had a blast shooting it. And it's one of those where we're just like, to this day, I'll every once in a while I'll put it back on and I'll watch it, just get a laugh out of it, something like that. But it was that was definitely a fun ride. We had a bunch of fun guys working on it, and really, really enjoyed it. So that was a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very cool.
I think I've run out of everything that I was going to talk about.
Oh, well, I've got a couple of things.
Okay, go for it.
Do you have a full-length feature ideas that you've been working on, or a full-length script that you've been working on? What about that?
Yeah, so Walter is actually a full-length feature. That's
it
the
is.
One that,
okay.
That's the one I pitched out to a production company in California. And then I actually have Sam's character from A Love Not Lost is actually his character is actually in a full-length feature that I'm like 60 pages in so far.
Sweet.
And then I'm also taking Rookies and Family Matter, 2 of my short films, and in Rookies and in the Family Matter, it's the same character by the guy's name, the mob boss guy's name is Ralphie Stigliano. So he's in both of those films, and taking that and I'm about 40 pages in that for a full-length feature.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, I've got 2 in the works, full-length features, pitching Walter. Sweet. And then, then we're shooting My Journey to Me starting tomorrow. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's busy, but it's a process, and just having fun with it.
Well, I'd rather be busy than bored sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, not to say the boredom isn't nice occasionally, but lockdown taught me it's like I gotta have something to do.
Yeah.
Something to look forward to. Even if it's putting my Christmas decorations back up, which, not gonna lie, I did during lockdown. I think a lot of people came up with creative ways to get through lockdown.
Well, actually, this is one of our creative ways to go through lockdown, because we were like, hey, we're bored. What should we do? And she actually said, hey, when we do a podcast, I said, well, I've got microphones and a computer. Let's do it. And then she's like, because I called her bluff, basically.
In my defense, I came up with the idea after 3 margaritas.
Yeah, but at the same time, though, it's like I had the equipment. It's like, let's do it.
Never hit your wife when
Absolutely.
she's drunk and hold her to the idea that she came up with. But
what was funny is that we were talking about like what we're going to talk about this kind of thing, and she says, "Well, is it okay if I have a beer beforehand or whatever?" I'm like, "There's no rules. It's a podcast.
Yeah.
Do whatever you
Absolutely.
want."
So
there you go. That's
the birth
how,
of Drunken Housewife, because
There you
lets-
go. See that?
he
so
lets
boredom
me,
can be
yeah,
a good thing. It can help you come up
he
with
lets
some
me
good
drink
ideas.
some mom water.
Now,
And
do you have apparel? Do you have like shirts that you wear, like the Drunken Housewife podcast or anything?
we don't, because
You should
we
start that. There you go.
well, it's really kind of funny. We just started doing like reviews of movies that we had watched. And then Stephen Joyner contacted us about, would you be interested in doing interviews? And we kind of thought about it and we're like,
Sure.
why not? I like to talk. Get me drunk, I talk more. Why not? So yeah, it's an example of you never know.
Yeah.
Keep plugging away and something might land in your lap that you didn't know you wanted to do.
Oh yeah,
Until,
Absolutely.
And
you
we've
know.
been running into a whole many people that are just interesting and fun to talk to, like yourself.
Like yourself, yeah, that
And
have
it's just-
amazing
so we just
projects
have a good
that,
time doing it.
yeah, that I mean, not gonna lie, I'm looking so forward to your Journey to Me, right? Did I get that title
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, you
Yes.
did.
Yes, yeah, that I'm looking forward to that. I would really love to see the Love Not Lost.
Okay, well, we definitely want to bring John back on.
Yes,
Okay,
when you get the day Walter sells, I'm throwing that out into the universe. The day
Well,
you
I'm
get
gonna have-
somebody.
We'll have, in a perfect world, which it is a perfect world, we choose to make it how we want to make it. We'll have,
Yes.
we'll hopefully we can get Mr. Freeman and Mrs. Mirren and Mr. Burns. All 4 of us can be on a Zoom call and
We would
be,
do
and they can be
that.
talking about Walter, and I'll just
Oh,
be
we would
like,
have
I'll
no
be just
problem
like
with
in
that.
high heaven.
Yes, I'm holding you to that.
Yes.
I
Okay.
am holding you to that. I'm putting it right here. I have proof.
Oh, if in
There
case
It's
you go.
gonna
you need-
happen. It's
also-
going to happen.
Also, in case you do need extras, we have free flight benefits, and we're both actors. We can come out and do something stupid.
All right.
in
There you
the
go.
films. We'd be
My
happy
dream
to
is
do
to
it.
play Dead Body number 3. I'm not gonna lie. I want to be blood, the whole 9, Dead Body number 3.
But as soon as
So-
you get some traction on whatever else is happening, we'll bring you right back, and there you go.
Yeah. So
That'd
the
be
mob,
awesome.
the mob movie. If you need Dead Body number 3,
There you go.
I'm your girl.
I'll
Okay,
hit you.
so-
I'll hit you up.
Yeah.
Where
Definitely.
all can people see your stuff? Go ahead. This is your plug.
Yeah.
time.
Is there
Tell us about it.
anywhere where anybody can see any of your stuff, or is it all hidden in the vault?
Yeah, so mostly if it's hidden involved, but I mean, they of course they can go to the website jdafilm.com. And then there's also, you can go to John David Anthony Actor on Facebook,
Okay.
and then also JDA Film 34 Instagram.
Awesome.
So, but yeah, it's just as those films get done and so forth, and they finish up with a circuit, I'll start putting more and more on there, and then
Awesome.
looking at doing a channel, a YouTube channel to put everything on there. Just put a link where people
Sweet.
can just click it on the website and they'll take them right there. But but like I said, there's my favorite song is on there right now. It's a 6-minute micro short, and then of course there's other clips, bad guy clips, and a couple scenes from Family Matter Rookies, and there's a scene from A Love Not Lost that's on there as
Okay.
well. So
Awesome.
bunch of stuff on there. So
Awesome. And then coming soon to a theater near you. I mean,
yeah, my
I'm
journey to
throwing
me.
this,
Yeah,
There you go.
throwing this into the universe because it's going to happen.
yeah.
You'll have to thank us when you win an Oscar or whatever. Because
Well, it's funny because a friend of mine, he's like, what's your biggest thing with Walter? And I said, one, it's my baby, and I said it's the first one that I wrote that I feel passionate about. And the other thing too, it's a family movie, because if you look at today's genre, there's not a lot of family movies out there where you can take your 5-year-old, your 8-year-old, your 16-year-old, your grandparents, and feel good about it, and not have to worry, and there's no bad language in it or anything like that. I told him, I said, in a perfect world, I just want to be I want to be sitting one day, and I don't care if I'm at home or whatever, and they just go, the Academy Award for Best Actor goes to Morgan Freeman and Walter, and I'd just be like, that's it. My life is
done.
complete.
There
I'm
you
done.
go.
I'm done. He's and everything he touches is just, he's one of my favorite actors of all time. He's just outstanding.
Yeah.
You know, and all of them, Helen Mirren,
Right.
Ed Burns, all of them, you know, I'm just so, you know, I think they're all just outstanding, and that would be the ideal thing for me. So
Well, there we go. Well, we've thrown it into the universe.
there we
So
go.
you never know. Somebody in the universe may be feeling this vibe going, you know,
Yeah.
I would love to see a script that would be great for Helen Mirren and, Morgan
Ed Burns
Freeman,
and Morgan.
Ed
Hey,
Burns.
someone could be listening
I
right now on your
wonder-
podcast going,
Yeah.
hey, you know what?
There
I
you
know
go.
Morgan. Let me give Morgan Freeman a call.
Yeah.
You know,
There we
hey, I just
go.
heard that. There you go.
Yeah.
See that?
So if anybody knows him, hey,
There you
call,
go.
call
Reach-
John because he's got
Yeah,
his
reach
script
out.
ready to go.
Yeah,
Ready.
adafilm.com. We're ready to have Mr. Freeman on camera.
Definitely.
well,
Definitely. Well,
yeah,
when
thank
that happens, throwing that positive into the universe, we'll definitely have to have you back.
Absolutely, that'd be a blast.
Definitely. Well, it's
All
been
right.
great.
It's been fantastic, guys.
yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being on here.
All right, you guys have a great
All right,
weekend.
you too.
too.
All
Bye.
right, take care. Bye.
Bye. Okay.
Good.
Okay. So that has been the incredible John Anthony.
Yeah. This stuff
I-
sounds really great.
Yeah, there's quite a few of his shorts that I really, really want to see. Shout out to the makers of Mom Water for today's beverage of choice. Yes, I purposely chose the Karen, who wouldn't. So all the moms out there looking for a summer beverage, they have Karen, they have Julie, they have
So we're not sponsored
Sandy.
by them, but
we're not sponsored by
but
them,
we
but
would not turn down a sponsorship.
if you know the makers of Mom Water, because this is my new beverage of the summer. So we hopefully will be lining up a lot. We have
we got a bunch
things-
of people.
we have
lined
things
up.
out there in the universe. We're trying to
So,
tighten
there you
down
go.
schedules. So we will be back soon with more interviews. Bye.
Bye.